Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'm dropping what I was going to talk about. I'm going to shift stuff around while I've got everybody. So I've got a couple of big stations that they have to drop out with the third hour for local news, and I got everybody. I want to say something. I've been like, oh, you got to say it when you got to say it. So I'm going to say it now. Bear with me. Some of you will say it's a little preachy, but it needs to be said. Today is, for a lot of kids, the last day of school for Thanksgiving week. Some will go through to Wednesday or have Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to be here on radio Monday and Tuesday. I'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I got a lot of cooking to do. Did y'all know that this is the time of year where we see spikes in suicide in the country? And a lot of people suffer from depression. Will you do me if you're driving, please, for the love of all that is good, decent, and holy in the world, don't do this if you're driving. But for the rest of you, if you're somewhere you can, close your eyes for just a minute. Just close your eyes. And just think about what you see in your mind's eye when I say the perfect Thanksgiving table. What does the perfect Thanksgiving table look like for you? Some of you, it will be the Norman Rockwell style shot, or the Hallmark movie style shot, the perfectly bronzed brown turkey sitting in the middle on a platter that no one's bothered to actually cut up. Who does that anyway? Who does that? Where, hey, kids, we're going to put the whole turkey in the middle of the table, and I'm going to stand here with my carving knife and carve up a little bit of. No, you don't do that. I mean, you cut it up and then you platter it that way. Come on. Don't do it the other way. Takes too much time. But y'all know what I mean. The pies are perfect. The turkey is perfect. The table is perfect. You got the leaves, the fall giant maple leaf patterns around. You got the placemats. Everything is set just perfectly. It's a beautiful setting. Or it's your favorite memory from your grandmother's. That's what you see when you close your eyes. You have the perfect Thanksgiving setting. Do you know what the perfect Thanksgiving setting is? Being surrounded by people who love you and you love. Forget the food on the table. It's being with people you care about. And the problem is, at this time of year, there are people you care about who might have been here yesterday or last week or last year or 5 years ago who will not be here this year because they have moved. They can't make it. You're no longer in companionship or friendship with them, or they're dead. And it's the last one. That's the one that weighs heaviest on a lot of people. That the people you were with last year have died, and they're not going to be with you this year. And sometimes that makes it hard to be thankful. Now, I say all this, and the reason I wanted you all here to be able to say this for you is I know there are people who say, and to some degree I'm a believer outside of immediate family, if there are really problematic people in your life, you don't have to feel the need to surround yourself with people. Listen, well, if I can channel my inner Dr. Laura for a minute, my wife loves Dr. Laura. I want you to know my wife loves Dr. Laura. And if I can channel my inner Dr. Laura here for just a minute, before I channel my inner Dave Ramsey, let me just say that if there are people in your life who stress you out, who are family of yours, there's no reason for you to have to be around them at Thanksgiving. Do not feel guilty by extricating yourself from family drama at Thanksgiving. There's nothing to be thankful for when people try to drag you into the family drama. To the extent you can love your family and be together for Thanksgiving, you should. If you can, you should. But also, family is in many cases what we make of it. Just as you choose someone to marry, you choose someone to be friends with, you choose someone around whose table you sit or who you allow around your table. And you should not be stressed. There are a lot of friends I have who do a Friendsgiving this weekend. I've got one friend, my buddy Mike. He is Marco Rubio's chief of staff. Mike and his wife love Thanksgiving so much, him in particular, that halfway through the year, from Thanksgiving to the next Thanksgiving, so it's sometime in the earlier part of the year, they do a Friendsgiving at the halfway point. So they have their family Thanksgiving, and then halfway towards the next Thanksgiving, they do a Friendsgiving. And they do the whole thing. They do the turkey, the cranberry sauce, all of it. They love Thanksgiving, and they have one for friends and one for family. I think that's a great idea. I don't do that, but I do think it's a great idea. But y'all, please, you're going to stress yourself out. You are headed into this weekend, and I know what this weekend is. Y'all know what this weekend is? This weekend is war at the grocery store. People are going to be fighting over the sweet potatoes. People are going to be fighting over the bread. People are going to be fighting over the turkeys. People are going to be fighting at the grocery store this weekend. I have seen it with my own eyes over time. And what's worse is like the day before Thanksgiving when you got 5 sweet potatoes left and only one of them is good, and you forgot to do the shopping, and now you got to go, and it's bad. It is bad. Your grocery store season, this is a stressful time of year to be in the grocery store. By the way, this is the time of year that I just say I love my local Publix grocery store. I know many of you around the country listening, you have no idea what this thing Publix is. But for those of us in the Southeast, in Georgia and Florida, praise Jesus for Publix. Because I know, listen, I will go to Kroger if I need to, but everybody shops at Kroger. They got much more stuff than Publix. They're huge. They're like a mini Walmart, in some cases the size of a Walmart, but Publix, just where shopping is a pleasure. You're still going to be stressed out. Let me give you permission. If you need someone to give you permission, let me give you permission to not be stressed by the interactions that you wish to avoid. Just avoid them. But there's something else here. Y'all have friends, every single one of you listening right now. You all have friends. Y'all all have friends. You may live an isolated existence, but you're friends with people. There are people you do like to hang out with. Even my family, which is probably the most hermit-desiring family on the planet, my wife and kids would prefer to stay at our home at all times and not interact with humanity at all. But they still, all of them have people that they occasionally do like to get together with. There are going to be people in your life who are otherwise isolated and alone this holiday season. Will you try to invite them to your house? Will you try? This is a time of despair. And this year is worse than most because of the cost of living. A lot of people are struggling. I've got a friend of mine who is already stressed about Christmas this year because so much stuff is expensive. And he's got kids, they're young, and last year they did a fun Christmas, and it unfortunately, unintentionally set expectations so high for this Christmas. He's like, they're going to have to understand. I'm like, they will understand. They absolutely will understand. Don't stress yourself. Don't go deep into debt trying to satisfy some picture postcard desire for Christmas, let alone Thanksgiving. Y'all, people are stressed out right now. The economy sucks. I've got the audio. I'll play it when we come back, but I was listening. Joe Scarborough talking about how the White House has the data. The economy's so good that people don't feel it. I go to the grocery store for my family. I'm the guy who shops for my family. And, you know, the worst thing about having a grocery store, we have a Publix right across the street from us. The worst thing about having the grocery store and the Chick-fil-A right across the street from your neighborhood is you are there every day. Grocery list, what is that? So I use an app on my phone. It's called AnyList. I think they make it for Android. I know they make it for they make it for the Mac. They make it for my iPhone. And literally, so AnyList is a grocery store app, and I can go in and it sorts the groceries by the appropriate aisle, and then I arrange the aisles based on my local grocery store. So I know, for example, the bakery comes first, and then the deli, and then the produce, and then the breakfast aisle. And then the soups in the international aisle, and then it's the baking aisle and the condiments and the vinegars and the spices, and then it's the canned foods and the pastas. And literally, I put in whatever I want, and it sorts it, and I go to the grocery store, and I am in and out fast. I prefer to go than do Instacart or something because that costs more money, and I can get in and out cheaper, and I pick my own vegetables and produce and stuff, and I do the grocery shopping in my house. And I know the cost of groceries because I am there every single day, it seems like. I mean, y'all, I go to my local grocery store so much, I am on a first name basis with them. And they're all super nice people. But when I am there and I am in line, there is inevitably someone around me who is stressed to the max about the cost of their groceries. I wrote a big check the other day to my local food bank. They asked me at Publix. I didn't even realize it. I was like, yes, I will give money. And I gave enough money that they're like, are you sure you want to get? Yes, I was sure. There are people struggling. There are people suffering with depression. There are people contemplating suicide right now, this very moment that I'm talking. Someone is. Because their favorite relative is no longer here. They are lonely. You may very literally save a life just by being extra kind to someone this week, because Thanksgiving's upon us, less than a week away now. As an aside, if you have a frozen turkey, don't forget to take it out and start thawing it over the weekend. If it's 15 pounds or more, you probably want to take it out on Saturday night. If it's less than 15 pounds, you can probably get away with Sunday night or Monday morning. But be kind to people this Thanksgiving. I know we're all going to be stressed out. We're all going to be fighting over the potatoes at the grocery store. But just take a moment and actually be thankful for what you have. We still do live, and on both sides of the aisle, there is this increasing mindset that we don't live in a great country, that our people are not good. On the right, it's the abortion laws are passing, and so clearly we're a sinful people in need of God's judgment. On the left, it's we're a capitalist system of people who like Donald Trump, and we're a bad people. Love the country. Love your neighbor. Be grateful for where you live. This is unique. You know, I mentioned before I grew up overseas. And I had plenty of friends who grew up in the Eastern Bloc countries. They worked for American businesses there in the 80s when you still had the Iron Curtain. And the Americans all got full-sized ovens because of this very unique, very weird tradition where these very weird birds were imported, very large birds were imported for Americans to cook and eat. And only Americans got the full-sized ovens in those Eastern Bloc countries, and everybody was jealous of them because they get to put so much food in the oven. And it was all uniquely for this week, this coming week. It was all uniquely for this season. I remember as a kid growing up overseas in the Middle East, and it was all a very uniquely, oddly American eccentricity that these giant butterball turkeys would start showing up in grocery stores, and only the Americans, nobody else even knew what to do with them. It was just for the Americans that we got the turkeys. We are so blessed to live in this country, for all of its faults, for all of its problems, for all of the things you and I see and we don't like. It's still the best country. No one is dying crossing rivers and desert to get into any other country. But they are to get here. And you're going to be surrounded in this week, and I've gone on too long and I didn't mean to. But you're going to be surrounded this week with people who you don't even know they're depressed. You don't even know they're suffering. You don't even know they're sad. You don't even know that they're upset because of they're missing someone. They're going to be alone this Thanksgiving. And you could be the person who helps them out of that. And if it's you, if you're the one, don't be afraid to talk to friends. Don't be afraid to open up that you're struggling. Don't be afraid to say you miss your relatives you can't be with. Don't be afraid to say you're lonely. This is the week where Americans come together. We sit around tables, we hold hands, we pray, and we become thankful. And there are a lot of people you may not realize who are thankful for you. So don't be afraid to tell your friends or just a note on Facebook that you're missing your relatives or you're going to be alone this Thanksgiving. And you may put it on the radar for others, but the burden should be on those of you who are not in that situation to be mindful of your friends who may be. Be thankful for your friends and all your many blessings. All right, I'll shut up. I'll go to break. We'll come back with the rest of the news. Guys, if you're a small, mid-sized business, you're struggling with HR issues, you have employees not showing up, or you got to do a termination, you need onboarding of employees, maybe there's a sexual harassment complaint. You want an HR manager. You don't want to be the bad guy with your employees. Bambee can play the role of HR for you. $99 a month, available by phone, email, real-time chat. They do onboardings, terminations. They help your team members get to peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations, regardless of which state. They're great. Now, they're U.S.-based. You got somebody to talk to who's dedicated to your team. They give you access to HR expertise, and they add personal touches. So even though they're outsourced by your company, they really feel like they're a part of your team. That matters. Go to Bambee.com right now. Type in Eric Erickson under podcast. When you sign up, it'll help my show. Bambee.com, 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 Eric Erickson in the podcast tab. Good gracious, y'all. A 200-pound python has been caught in Florida. Well, precisely 198-pound Burmese python, and they're spreading north. They're making it to Central Florida. Those of you on WDBO, watch out. Then they're eating everything they possibly can. One of them they found had a 75-pound white-tailed deer in its stomach. Oh, my gosh. This is why I hate snakes. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. However we can eradicate. People drop it off their pythons. They get too big. They drop them off into the Everglades, and now they're taking over, killing everything. All the natural wildlife out there is being wiped out by these things. We got to eradicate them, and I don't know that we can. That's not good. That's not good at all. 198-pound python. Ugh. Okay, we got to move on. We got other news to talk about. But first, Vision Computer. We've got one in our house, a computer built by Vision. It's actually it's well done, y'all. We got to pick out the case and everything. My son and I, he's really happy with it. I'm really happy because he calls Vision if he's got any question whatsoever on how to do something. They take care of him. They can do it for you too. They can do it for your family, for your kids, but also they can do it for your business, laptops or desktops. They can build you a custom machine that is meant for you, not the one size fits all from the big box store. And then they can be your service department. So you're not calling some geek somewhere to answer a question and maybe they answer and maybe they call you back. At Vision, they actually answer the phone 15 seconds or less. And if they are overwhelmed, they take your number and they will call you back as quickly as they can. They do such a remarkable job. They can do this for your whole company. So if you've got 10, 15, 20 employees, they'll build all the computers for your employees. And then they give each of your employees a number, and your employee, if they're having problems, they call Vision. Vision takes care of them. You do not have to be your own IT department, nor do you have to hire someone in-house. It's great. It saves you money, and you got a lifelong relationship with a great company. VisionComputers.com is the website, VisionComputers.com. You can call them anywhere nationwide, 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. They'll save you even more money. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, I will take some of your phone calls. Let's begin with Lisa. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric, long-time listener. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Listen, yes, not only are we being invaded from our southern border on one side of the country, we're being invaded by snakes.
Yes.
I listen every day, and I can't remember when it was, but I believe it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. a gentleman from Georgia, which is also my hometown area, he called in and was discussing the nuclear power grid that's just up and running here in Georgia. And he said something about it was either Bitcoin or whatever the other digital currency is or something, and the relationship between those two. I was trying to relay that to someone, and I can't get it right. Could you elaborate on that and define that?
Okay.
For us?
Yes. So there. Hang on. I'm trying to. I'm trying to find this together. Yeah. Okay. So crypto mining, which is Bitcoin and the like, and Ethereum is the other big one. They need nuclear power. And the reason they need nuclear power is because they are deeply, deeply power intensive and power hungry. And there are actually bit mining operations in the United States that consume more power than the entire power grid of some small nations. It's crazy. And that power that they use that generates from a lot of coal-fired plants because they need power constantly, so they can't rely on wind power and solar power. So in other words, in order to expand cryptocurrency mining, we have to have more nuclear power because otherwise it's going to the carbon emissions from Bitcoin mining are going to destroy the planet. That's the thinking, if that makes sense to you. So let me see if I can summarize this in a way that's more understandable. Cryptocurrency requires lots of power generation. That power generation comes mostly from fossil fuel burning power plants because they need it 24/7. And so cryptocurrency requires a massive build out of nuclear power so that the carbon emissions of cryptocurrency do not pollute the planet.
Wow. So let me get this straight. Climate change. Wow.
So yeah, basically the people who are
upset.
Yeah, okay. So the people who are upset about climate emissions hate cryptocurrency because it consumes so much power to run the computers to do the computer mining that it causes massive carbon emissions. So you got to have nuclear power.
Now, does that includes, the government is trying to change everything to digital currency. Isn't that digital currency?
Yeah, to a degree, yes. So now the FDIC and the Federal Reserve say it's not actually going to happen in this country, but other countries, and it may still happen in this country, they're toying with digital currencies. Now, let me back up and explain the way this works to people. It's a mathematical equation, an algorithm, and essentially your coin is tied to a mathematical equation. And the mathematical equation goes out and finds certain numbers that are hard to find. And so you run the algorithm over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you get a whole number, one that doesn't have a decimal point and other stuff. It's hard to find. That gives the value to the cryptocurrency. And you have to run those mathematical equations over and over and over on intensive computing machines. And that uses a lot of power. And so as countries want to convert their currencies to digital currency, they come up with a country-specific algorithm that does the calculation for their country, which drives up the power cost. And the only way to deal with it is we need more nuclear power plants. Otherwise, in some cases, they're going to consume every ounce of power generated by a fossil fuel burning plant. And I say ounce tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but you know what I mean. Every bit of power from a power plant will go towards mining cryptocurrency.
And Georgia has the nuclear power plant that is
Georgia's got the only new nuclear power plant in the entire nation. It's the first nuclear power plant built in this nation in more than a decade. In fact, it's been so long since we built a nuclear power plant in this country, all of the original nuclear engineers were dead, which is why it took so long to build this one, because no one remembered how to build them.
Wow.
Yeah, and by the way, this is a jump off point, but it really is. I mean, people should understand that we literally have taken so long to build new nuclear power plants in this country that all of the original engineers who knew how to build them had died, and only China and Russia had the expertise. And we've had to redevelop the expertise in this country and relearn how to build them. And it took the cost overruns on this plant were ridiculous because we just simply had forgotten as a nation how to build a nuclear power plant.
Wow.
So we got to build more.
Thank you so much for explaining that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. That's your wild one of the day, folks. Cryptocurrency and the need for a nuclear power grid to be able to keep up with it. But to the other point, though, think about the institutional knowledge that we lost as a nation just because we decided, thanks to the environmentalists funded by the Soviets in the day, they were funded by the Soviets. The anti-nuclear environmentalists were funded by the Soviets. They won the fight, and we lost all of the institutional knowledge in this country on how to build a nuclear power plant, and we had to redevelop that nuclear expertise. And that's why the Georgia Plant Vogtle, they call it, was so necessary as a national security issue in this country to relearn how to build these things, because we need lots more of them. Charlie, you're going to be up next. I can see your number, so I know you're not my actual producer who's somewhere in the woods killing animals today.
Mr. Eric, thank you so much for taking my call. I wanted to mention Ian, your call screener, is a very personable young lady.
She is.
She's very nice. She is. She's very nice. I had two comments before my real comment. She told me not to mention any brand names or anything, but the store that you were mentioning earlier where shopping is a pleasure, I'm there every day myself, and I do my own shopping, and I know all the people in the store, and I love the BOGOs. BOGOs are awesome. And there's a person that you used to work with at WSB. I'm not sure if I can mention his name, but he was an older gentleman that drives around in a camper now, and he's a pilot.
Yes.
You remember him.
Yes, Mr. Bortz, yes.
Yes, sir. Listen to WSB since the 90s. Love that guy. So this is the dilemma that I'm in. I'm a former Marine. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I saw this story of the gentleman that was in Los Angeles, and it looked like he had some money, and some thugs jumped his fence and tried to rob him, and he defended himself and pulled his weapon out. They shot at him. He shot back. Well, the bad guys got away. So he called the police, obviously. You have to call them. And it took them 3 days to show up. I read this on a news website. And it took them 3 days to show up. And when they came there, they never took the rifle, the casings, which should have scuff marks from the ejection, maybe fingerprints when they loaded the magazine. Mm-hmm. The police took 3 days, and the guy was a little perturbed. When they showed up, he left everything, the evidence on the ground right where the casings landed. He never touched them. And now the police leave without taking the casings. Like, they're just very lackadaisical. And this is why these criminals really have the upper hand. So he was a little perturbed with the police, and he, I guess he raised his voice to the police officer. Yeah, he chewed him out. So and
for those of you who know, so the guy's name, Charlie, his name is Vince Ritchie. He has a 5-month-old and his wife. It was almost a home invasion, and it took the police multiple days to show up.
Yes, sir. So now they removed, because he chewed out the cops, they revoked his license to carry the gun. Mm-hmm. Now, all the criminals in Los Angeles know this guy's unarmed. Just like I'm from Massachusetts originally. In order for you to have a pistol, you have to have a permit to go with it. Down here, luckily, I'm down here in Florida, in Sorrento, Florida. Beautiful here. And I listen to WEEB, by the way. It's one of your affiliates. And I pick it up online on my phone. I walk my dog. Kind of retired. Full Marine. I'm a 100% disabled Marine. And so So now this guy's a sitting duck out there.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that he's unarmed.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, Charlie, I got to let you go there because I got a commercial come up. But thanks for the call in on this and for your service too. Thank you for your service. So this is Vince Ritchie. He has a 5-month-old and his family. This happens in Los Angeles. They showed up at his property. They came to his property to do a home invasion. He pulled his gun and protected his wife and 5-month-old. He called the sheriff's department to tell them what happened. They did not show up immediately. They didn't show up immediately. They did not come to his home. He left all of the evidence where it was, and when they finally came to his home, he was so exasperated, he yelled at them for taking so long to come. He had a wife and kid. He protected them, and the bad guys got away because the police took so long to come. And I said it was days. I misread the story. It was hours later they showed up, and he is exasperated. And because he yelled at the police, they canceled his concealed carry permit that it took him months to get. 3 days later, they showed up at his house and revoked his concealed carry permit because he yelled at the police in California. And now this guy, he's without his concealed carry permit. He can have a gun at home, but he can't carry it on his person now, even though he himself was a victim of a crime and his family was nearly harmed by bad guys. So but you know what? This is California. And the people of California keep voting for this, not this guy. He's going to have to move out of California, I guess. But at some point, the majority of the people of California, they get the government that they support, and the government they support is pro-criminal. Gavin Newsom thinks he's going to run for president on a record like that. It's bizarre. By the way, you know, Patriot Mobile supports the Second Amendment Foundation and lots of great nonprofits that support gun owners out there. And they do it with the profits they get from you guys moving your business to them. They also support the pro-life movement and conservative candidates. All you have to do is move your cell phone service to them at patriotmobile.com/Eric. You grow their profits, they grow their giving. It's a great way for you to participate in the conservative movement with just moving your cell phone service. In exchange, you get guaranteed great service. They use the same cell towers you're probably already using. You can even keep your existing phone number and move it to them. It's patriotmobile.com/Eric, patriotmobile.com/ERICK. You can also call them at 972-PATRIOT. Tell them I sent you. You get free activation with my name, 100% U.S.-based customer service. patriotmobile.com/Eric or 972-PATRIOT. They grow their profits. They grow their giving to the conservative movement. You get great service in return. If you want to see their coverage map, go to patriotmobile.com/Eric. Put in your address. They'll zoom straight into your house and show you how good the 5G, the data, the voice is. It's a great company. patriotmobile.com/Eric or 972-PATRIOT. Yes, you should text recipe to 33777. I will tell you, we're going to rethink how we do it next year because it's becoming more and more of a burden and a distraction to try to come up with a new thing every single 52 weeks, every week. And instead I compiled all my recipes. So if you text the word recipe, singular, to 33777, you can click through and see my holiday recipe booklet. I guess it's not a full, it's about 40 some recipes, 50 some pages, how I do turkey. I will tell you, I feel kind of guilty. I was texting with my buddy Drew last night, who was asking me a question about the turkey. And I put in how I've done the turkey. And I should probably send out a recipe of how I'm actually going to do my turkey this year. Instead of brining it, I'm just going to do a dry brine. My buddy Ryan Lane of Lane's Barbecue has this seasoning, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on the turkey and leave it for a couple days. But I do want you to be advised, now is the time to start thinking about unthawing your turkey. If you've got a 15-pounder or more, if it's more than 15 pounds, you're probably going to want to take it out tomorrow, put it in the bottom rack of the refrigerator, so it'll be thawed out come Wednesday when you're ready to start putting rubs and stuff on it, or Tuesday, really. If you have a less than 15-pound turkey, you can probably wait until Sunday night to be on the safe side, but you don't want to go past the weekend to thaw out your turkey, people. I am going to do a dry brine this time. So why? A wet brine, I don't want to have to deal with it this time. So I will take lightly sprinkle some seasoning on the turkey, and I will leave it for about 48 hours in the refrigerator. Let the skin dry out so it'll be nice and crispy, among other things, and then I will smoke it. I am going to smoke it at 325. I never smoke I always get a giant turkey, and if it's over 15 pounds, I don't smoke it at less than 300 because of salmonella. I do worry about food poisoning, particularly around Thanksgiving. And after yesterday, I'm really concerned about it. Oh, that was bad. But 300 to 325, I'm going to do mine at 325. And then I'll take an 18-pound turkey close to 4 hours, just under 4 hours. They don't go as long as a really fatty piece of meat. But you are going to want to start thawing it out this weekend. If you're doing a dry brine on it, do at least 24 hours. With the brine on it. You only do a few tablespoons. You don't want to get super salty. But in any event, now's about the time to start thinking about that, how you're going to do your turkey. You can follow my recipe, that's fine. But I feel like I'm pulling the wool over your eyes a little bit because I am changing up how I do it. 325 is the temperature I'm smoking it at. I don't fry them. I've never fried them. I don't actually like a fried turkey, even though I'm from Louisiana. So I'm going to smoke it 325. Take 3.5, 4 hours with a turkey about 18 pounds like the one I got from Porter Road, and it'll be fine. Now, if you've got a turkey and it's a butterball, if you have a turkey and it says injected with saline solution or injected with brine, do not brine your turkey. Don't do a dry rub and don't brine it. If it has been injected, don't do it. Your turkey will be way too salty. Just let it be, and it'll be fine. Butterball is a great brand because you're not going to screw it up with Butterball. Now, I got to move on and tell you about Omaha Steaks, because if you want a great ham or turkey from Omaha Steaks, there's still time. You go to omahasteaks.com, you put Eric in as your promo code at checkout, and you save extra $30 off your already unbelievable 50% off site-wide savings. Minimum order required. omahasteaks.com. They got great steaks, seafood. Right now, they're doing a Thanksgiving special. You can get a turkey from them. You can get a smoked ham from them. You can get sides. My wife got the caramel apple tartlets again the other day. She loves them. Individually handmade caramel apple tartlets from Omaha Steaks. They do such a good job. And right now, site-wide 50% off. Keep in mind, you have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So you go to omahasteaks.com. At checkout, you'll see a promo code, and you put in my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. You'll get $30 extra off already unbelievable savings at omahasteaks.com. It's deliciousness delivered to your door. They want to keep you happy. They want you coming back. omahasteaks.com. At checkout, in the promo code box, you put in Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and you will save an extra $30 off unbelievable site-wide savings already going on.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.